huge thank you to ARCO today for coming out to speak with us, and they'll be presenting a little bit later. But I just want to go ahead and hop into our announcements.
Hi everyone. From everyone in Publicity Committee, we hope you guys enjoyed our little quiz. If you're looking for more content like this, you should check out our blog at utswe.org/blog. And if you're looking to work on more content like this quiz, then you should join Publicity Committee at this link, tinyurl.com/utswe Publicity Committee, or scan the QR code on this page.
Okay, sorry, there seems to be a lag. Hey guys, so this is the last week of S2S. We're just going to be hosting a few small socials that we're going to list very soon. So please come out to that. Yeah, last week's spirit, and we've been doing great so far. So yeah, thanks for whoever came out.
Hey guys, so this is also the last week for Helen Can Food Drive, and just a little backstory. This is supposed to be a month-long event in October where we raise money for to give financial support and food to struggling families in Texas. So if you want to donate, you can scan that QR code or click that tiny URL, and $1 provides 4 meals. So even any small contribution would make a huge impact. Also, if you're not a member yet, part of our member portal, then you should definitely join. The point system has new prizes. So there are 3 tiers: all right, which is 6 to 8 points, all right, which is 9 to 12 points, and then all right, which is 12+ points. You can get all of these cool prizes if you just go to events like these. You earn points for being at the meeting right now. So it's not too late to sign up, but look at these cool prizes and you should definitely go and get them.
Membership spotlight. So as mentioned in the blurb, but SWE is super diverse and we have a lot of amazing people in our organization, and we really want to highlight the amazing things you guys do. So please do fill out the form, and we'll be featuring you guys and the activities you do, as well as cool facts about you on our social media, as well as our newsletters. Yeah.
Okay, hey guys, sorry. Also the smoke alarm might be periodically going off in my apartment. I apologize about that. But yeah, now I'm going to hand it over and stop my screen share and let Lauren and Mary take it away. So yeah, you all should be good to go to start screen sharing.
Okay, great. You can hear me?
Yep.
Can you see my screen?
Yep, now we got it.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for having us again, guys. It's awesome to see some familiar faces. Mary and I talked to your group, what was that, a couple months ago now? I don't remember. And I see some familiar faces, some new ones, so great to meet you all. We're going to tell you a little bit about us, a little bit of our experience at ARCO, and just being in the construction field in general. And then want to walk you through some networking tips and tricks. We'll probably go a little faster since some of you have seen this before, but if you do have any questions along the way, feel free to shout out, and I will also have some Q&A at the end. So we want to help you guys, whether it's, tips on career fairs, networking, interviewing, whatever you guys are dealing with right now, let us know what you want to focus on. So before we get in, is there any topic that you guys do think would be the most helpful for us to talk about? Or should we just jump in?
You can totally jump in
Okay.
with whatever you feel like you want to start with. We'll take everything. Yeah.
Great. All right. So hopefully we can go. There we go. Okay. So quick intros. I'm Lauren Ladowski. I am Vice President of our Dallas office. I lead our tenant improvement team here. And basically, tenant improvement means any renovation or construction project to an existing building or structure. So there are a lot of different projects that can be as part of that group. I went to Notre Dame. I studied civil engineering with a structural concentration. Loved engineering, loved math and science, but also kind of had that draw to the management side. So I interned with ARCO Murray after my junior year, and just wanted to try it out, and fell in love with the company, the amount of responsibility that was given to me even just as an intern, and was offered a full-time position, and I've been there ever since. So I was a project manager up in the Chicago office for 3 years, moved into kind of an operations role, director of accounts role, and then moved down here. And the goal was to start our tenant improvement team, and that's what Mary and I are doing. So I'll hand it off to her next.
Awesome. Well, like Lauren said, good to see you all again. For those of you who are on the call, nice to meet all the new faces. I have a little bit of a different background from Lauren. So I work at ARCO Murray. Obviously, I've been here a little over a year. I work as a project manager on Lauren's team, so on the tenant improvement team, doing renovations to existing buildings. Before I was at ARCO, so I went to SMU, right across the street from our office, and I majored in engineering management information systems. So that name's a little confusing to some people who don't go to SMU. It's kind of called something different at every school. So either that or industrial engineering, similar to operations research. So, and I'm minored in math. So like Lauren, was always drawn to the math and science side of things and computer science and data analytics. And so I actually went and worked at BNSF Railway, which is the largest railroad in North America, and was in their industrial engineering department working as a business analyst. So while I, in the software world, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but business analyst is basically another word for project manager. So it's similar type work in a different industry. It's kind of the same type deal where you'll straddle the line of, I was working with the tech team and then working with the client, whereas at a construction company, you're more working with subcontractors and working with the client. So it's a lot of the same type of work, just different industry. And I did that for 4 years at 2 different companies before starting at ARCO. And I found out about ARCO from a friend that I grew up with, and he worked here. And, it was like, construction's awesome and ARCO's awesome. You should come work here. So I was a little, nervous at first to totally switch industries, because you get comfortable with something like, you study it in school, you work there for 4 years. But just for, an encouraging note for any of y'all graduating and finding new jobs, if you do have a job that, say, you don't love at first, I feel like a lot of people think that they're kind of stuck in that, like they've gotten, far in. And so just want to encourage all that if you don't, if you end up, you learn a lot once you start working. So it's like, well, maybe this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe I'm exploring, I want to use other skills. It's not so difficult to transfer industries when you are an engineer and you have transferable skills. So, maybe you graduate in a certain type of engineering and you go into working into a different type of job. So just want to, let y'all know that you're not totally tied down to one thing once you do start that. And that's normal to have that feeling, but really transitioning, especially if you're at a good company with good leadership and good training, is, fun and pretty easy. So I started at ARCO about a year ago, and been running TI projects, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think even some of you maybe looking at switching majors before you graduate, don't be afraid to do that too. I didn't do that either, but I know friends that have switched like 2 or 3 times before they graduated. It's crazy. And being engineers, you guys could literally go do whatever you want, so go for it. So a little bit about ARCO. We are a general contractor. So clients come to us to hire subcontractors to build a lot of different product types, whether it's industrial, entertainment. You can see Topgolf here. We build these all across the country. Maybe some of you have been to one. Hatchways, this is a co-working cafe in Dallas. But what is unique about us is what we call design build. We believe in the design build method, which basically means that instead of just building it, we're actually working with our clients through the whole design process and working with the architect and the engineers and all the consultants that go into putting a design together, a plan together, and then executing the plan on the construction side. So we do everything, and it's our job to be the quarterback of everything for our clients. We've done, you know, a lot of projects all across the country and in some other countries, including Canada. And another thing that makes us a little more unique is that we hire engineers almost exclusively. So we want to hire you guys. But the reason we hire engineers is because we believe that that technical mindset and that problem solving ability that you guys learn through 4 years of college is it allows us to service our clients better because they're looking for people to make problems go away. So a few little shout outs here. We've been named one of the best places to work for the past 4 years. We're very proud of that. But we've also been one of the fastest growing companies in Dallas for the past 3 years. And very proud of that. And I think it kind of shows how driven we are to continue to grow our business and continue to expand into more different markets. So briefly talking about women in construction, Mary and I are talking to you today. We are, you know, a couple of the few female project managers at ARCO, but we're continuing to grow and getting more women into the construction field. And it's definitely a passion of mine. I want people to understand, women to understand that there is a career opportunity in construction. You can kind of see here right now, women only make up about 10% of the construction workforce, but that is getting higher every year. You know, contracting companies are even having women in more executive roles. So that means women are actually sticking in the construction industry and enjoying it and making careers out of it. So that's a really good sign too. And not just construction. I love that you guys are engineers. I love that you guys want to go into some sort of STEM related field and make a career out of it. That's really cool. These are some of our awesome women at ARCO. I've showed you guys this slide before. But again, we're really trying to make sure that younger girls and women in college are considering construction as a career opportunity, because I promise it is a lot of fun. This was our Women in Construction Week event. We had a few different panels across a couple different offices just to celebrate encouraging and communicating and getting more women into the construction field. And we're looking forward to doing this again next March. It's always the first week in March, Women in Construction Week. Okay, now I'm going to hand it off to Mary again. She's going to walk us through some networking tips. This can apply to interviewing, career fairs, everything. So how to prepare, work the room, and then some follow-up at the end. So again, ask any questions along the way or at the end works too.
All right, so before the event, just a couple things that, you know, we would recommend that you all do and that we do before we go to networking events is make sure you practice your elevator pitch. Should be about 20 to 30 seconds. Make sure you're not going too long and getting too wordy. You definitely want to make sure that you're not losing the people's attention that you're talking to. This may sound a little funny, but I think it's helpful to practice your elevator pitch in the mirror. Like if you're looking at yourself talking, I prepare for interviews that way, it's uncomfortable and it makes you more prepared and makes you more comfortable with what you're saying. So make sure you practice your elevator pitch. Let's see. Yeah, you know, and this is a good point. Your elevator pitch should not be a sales pitch, like a little bit less focused on like fully selling yourself and more just focused on talking to the person and trying to make a connection with them. And like this bottom one says, you know, people will remember you if you try to build a relationship with them, and you want to make sure that you're getting the other person talking to and getting them engaged. The more you can get the other person engaged, the more they're likely to remember you. And so make sure you're asking them good questions, be concise, try not to be too wordy, but try to be more conversational and get them talking towards the end. Make sure that you're prepared on questions they may ask you. I do remember it is nerve-wracking at your first, you know, interviews and your first career fairs to be like totally focused on what you're saying and focused on, you know, that sort of thing. But make sure that you're prepared for any questions they may ask you after. Another thing that's, I think, important in interviews, and you know, Lauren will talk more about this in a minute, but make sure you're actively listening when you're talking to someone, like, you know, giving your pitch and whatever they may say back, because whatever they say back, if you can incorporate that into a question like later on in the conversation, I think is always an impressive point to make. It shows that like you're engaged and you're listening and you're paying attention to what they're saying. Before you get to the event, make sure you do enough prep. This can be, oh, sorry, Lauren, is this your slide or is this my slide?
No, it's yours. The only thing I was going to say is that with every career fair that I've gone to, my first question to the person that I'm talking to is, tell me a little bit about yourself. And that's the direct invitation for you to give me your elevator pitch. So tell me your name, where you're from, who you are, what you're interested, and why we're talking. And that's all you need to say. And then that gets the conversation going. So sorry, Mary, you can keep going.
No, you're good. And yeah, and I mean, and that's a good point. I mean, an elevator pitch, definitely don't dread it. You know, I remember like being nervous and used to kind of having that dreading feeling, but if you practice it enough, it should be something that you get excited about. It's like a really quick and easy way to set yourself apart from other people. If you can have a great elevator pitch, that can put you like at a lot higher level for success because it's the first impression. A lot of times, you know, people really remember the first impression. So definitely use that as a time to try to get a leg up with that person and kind of against your competition. But before the event, make sure that you're prepared. You know, that kind of sounds easy, but really the more that you can know like relevant about that company, the better. So when you're interviewing, like, you know, you need to be prepared in a career fair, but also in the interview, which I would say you need to be prepared to a higher level when you're going into the interview. If you can say things like, and sometimes it's awkward in an interview because it is awkward talking about yourself, and I totally get that. The more you practice, the better you'll feel. But being prepared and knowing about that company and being able to say, like, you know, this is who I am and this is X, Y, Z, like why my skills are transferable at your company. This is X, Y, Z, like, you know, why I would be a good fit for your company because I know about what's going on in that company. Set you aside further. Then they want to know that you're prepared and you want to work at their company and that you're prepared in targeting their company and not just kind of like a general statement that could go to a lot of different companies. So the more you're prepared and the more like specific details that you can show you did your research. Also, if you pull out facts about them and ask questions about what's going on in their current events, also shows just like your diligence and preparation and that you care more about getting that job. So I would research, you know, obviously what that company does, what their background is, and then some current things that have been going on with them, like what has changed with their business during COVID. Like what's, you know, you can find all that usually on the internet too. And if you know anyone that works at that company or you have any friends that have interned there, I would also not hesitate to reach out to them and ask questions, work your network as much as you can. Like if you're about to interview somewhere, you know someone who works there, you know, and that's not the person you're interviewing with, definitely set up a coffee with them beforehand and say, hey, here's who I'm interviewing with. Here's what I know and what advice, you know, do you have for me or, you know, anything like that. I wouldn't be afraid to set something up beforehand. Review any notes you have from a previous event. If you've met that person at a career fair before, or you've had a previous interview with them, you know, definitely refresh your memory on that. And you may want to touch on a topic that you've talked to them about before. Hey, I remember meeting you a few months ago at this career fair. I thought it was really interesting that you brought up X, Y, and Z, you know, then say something else about it that you've done research on that. It shows that you remember talking to them and you're connecting the dots. And the more dots you can connect, the better. I was also going to say, we have this on our follow-up for the event, but I think it's important too for pre-event preparation. Don't be afraid to, we talked about this last time, but don't be afraid to connect with the people on LinkedIn before you even meet with them. Just think about it, these people who you don't necessarily know who you're going to be meeting with at a career fair. You do know who you're going to be interviewing with. These people meet a lot of people. They interview a lot of people. A good way, I think, to make yourself stand out is go friend them on LinkedIn and send them a personalized message. You know, hey, I'm excited to talk to you on XYZ date. Looking forward to it. You can add some more stuff into that. But that is another thing that will set you apart and then that they'll remember. So any like small thing you can think of like that beforehand, I wouldn't necessarily wait until after the event to do that. Go ahead and do it before if you can, if you know who those people are.
Yeah, really good points. One of my other go-to career fair questions is, what do you know about ARCO? And it's a bummer when the person responds with, I don't really know much. I was hoping you could tell me more. Come with something, even if it's a question, like, I saw this on your website and I wanted to ask you about it. Just something that showed you tried to do a little bit of research before. Second point is that Mary, I think, was one of the best interviews I've ever had, because she
Thank you.
came prepared, very prepared, did a lot of research about what we do. And with every question that she asked and every answer that I gave her, she then directly related it to her past experience. So I didn't quite do project management, but I did this, and it's very similar to your process that you just told me about. So it showed that she really knew what skills were required for the job and wanted to relate them to what her experience already was. So, all right. Sorry, Mary, keep cutting you off. Oh.
No, I appreciate the compliment.
Okay, so work in the room. So now you're at the event, you're all prepared, you've come with all your information. You know, big events with a lot of people that you don't know can be very intimidating. I still get nervous. I was at a networking event this morning, I was nervous. Go with someone that you know, that makes it easier, but make sure you put a conscious effort into not sticking next to them the whole time. That'll prevent you from meeting new people, branching out, and expanding your network. Don't be shy. And, you know, I think it's really easy to get nervous about this, but if you walk into a conversation confident and just be yourself, that is one of the most attractive things that employers are looking for. Just talk, ask questions, don't be nervous. I know that's easier said than done, but we're looking for people that are excited and curious and just want to hang out and talk. This is a big one. Mary talked about this too. People love talking about themselves. So as soon as you can get enough information about yourself out in your sales pitch and talk about some of your experience, turn the conversation back to them and ask them about what they do and what they find to be the most exciting part of their day and what they love working, and maybe ask them about their family if you're at a networking event. People love talking about themselves, and they feel good when they're talking to you, talking about themselves. Mary mentioned this too. You don't have to sell yourself completely. The goal is just to get to the interview at the career fair. In a networking situation, you want to meet them, have a meaningful enough conversation, but then set up coffee or lunch or the next step so you can actually move the relationship forward in a business setting. Get a business card. This is important. Got to exchange contact information. Give them yours if you have one, and yeah, then set up that call. Timing, you know, at events like this, you don't have a ton of time. And in the career fair setting, you could talk to 30 companies, but if you didn't have a meaningful conversation with any of them, then that was a waste of your time. So again, the goal is to have a meaningful conversation and then move on to the next person and be conscious of that person's time too. Exit strategies, this can be a fun one. If you're at a networking event, it's, oh, I need to go get more coffee, or I'm going to go use the bathroom, or hey, I need to talk to the next person. You're here to meet people. I'm here to meet people. It was awesome meeting you, and let's part ways. And take notes. You can meet a lot of people at these events and then totally forget who you talked to or who you talked to what about. I don't know. So jot some notes down about who they are, what you talked about, maybe some things they like that you can then touch on the next time you talk to them.
All right, yeah, that's a really good point about taking notes, because I am guilty of always thinking I'm going to remember exactly what people said and who said it. And you will be surprised, especially when you talk to a lot of people, how quickly that can exit your mind. So a quick note can make your time a lot more worth it at these events. Okay, so post-event tips, the notes that you take when you're there that we were just mentioning, make sure you get those organized and into a database. I would recommend, you know, as soon as you can after the event, the fresher it is in your mind, the better notes you'll be able to put in detail, and the more accurate they will be. At ARCO, we use OneNote, and I mean, really, we use all three of these templates. Depends on your preference and what you have. At some companies, you'll have Salesforce, which is a great tool to track who you met and leads and contacts and things like that. OneNote is also a great tool with, it's basically kind of like a Word document, but it's got a lot of tabs on the side. It's a good, like, I don't know, it's an easy tool to organize your notes in. And so I would just transfer that with as much detail as you can, as fast as you can after the event, just to make sure they are accurate. connecting on LinkedIn, I already talked about this in the beginning, but say you go to a career fair and you don't know who you're going to be talking to. So definitely connect with those people after the event. Connect with people in your interview if you didn't already do so before. Maybe someone else popped in and said hello. Definitely shoot them an invite as well. I mean, the more people you can connect with at the company, the better. The bigger footprint you can leave. So as Lauren said, the career fair is to just get to the interview and meet that person. So you may only have a couple minutes with them, and that's not a lot of time. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask to grab coffee or lunch after. Don't think that you're ever bugging someone by doing that. You may be intimidated. I remember oh, wow, that person's name tag said CEO or vice president, nervous to reach out to them. And what if they don't have time? I don't want to bug them, but you're not. They want to hire good talent. They want to hire people who are motivated and that have the drive to reach out to them and schedule that. And the more relationship building that you can do with that person, the more time, especially face-to-face, that you can get with them, the better. And the more they'll remember you. So definitely reach out and suggest grabbing coffee or lunch. I know right now things are a little difficult with in-person. So, you could always set up a Zoom. Good news is that people, I feel like now are becoming more open to meeting outside. Bad news is it's getting pretty cold outside. It's 39 degrees here in Dallas. So I don't know what it was like in Austin. But if you have a nice day, I'd suggest getting coffee or lunch outside. Another touch you can do is, even if you do already connect with this person on LinkedIn after an interview, I would also send a handwritten note. Handwritten notes go a really long way, sometimes a longer way than you would even ever guess. So when in doubt, I would always send one. I think it's a good personal touch. It's kind of like another level, obviously, than an email or LinkedIn, and just another way to set yourself apart. And I think people always appreciate getting that. Something that Lauren has taught me and has been a good tool to use as well is this second bullet point. So sending someone a relevant article. There are people that I've networked with before, and I'm like, God, I can't really think of. I want to reach back out to them, but I'm kind of at a dead end on how I should do that. And this is a really good way to do that. Think about, you'll have notes from what you've discussed with them in the past. Go back and read that. Maybe you'll discuss some sort of current event that, has changed, or you've discussed something with their business. Look up an article and be like, hey, I remember we had a discussion about this, just came across this article, thought I'd share, thought it was interesting. Or another thing that we've done was, hey, I drove by your office building today and thinking about you, wanted to reach out about X, Y, and Z. Really anything that can set you apart. So this article thing is a great idea. Marketing content, something that we send at ARCO is a capabilities package. Here's previous projects that we've done. It's kind of different when you're in school, but here's my resume, or, an example, example of things that you've done. I don't know if you're a senior design project. I don't know how many of you are seniors, but you will do a senior design project, I'm guessing. And so if that has to do with, if that is at a company that you're trying to work at, or it's a company that's similar, you could send an example of that project. A lot of senior design projects are impressive, and that's good marketing content as well. So any extra touch that you can do after the event is always much appreciated by the person receiving it. And then make sure you re-engage before the next event. So kind of like we were talking about earlier, go back and read your notes from the previous event. If you already talked to them at a career fair, if you already had an interview with them, bring that up before the next event and just say you're looking forward to meeting with them or looking forward to seeing them at the career fair. Any touch point, the more touch points you can make, the more they will remember you. And like I was saying earlier, the more dots you can connect, the better. So.
Okay. Sorry, we kind of ran over on time there, I think. So do you guys have any questions for us? I know some of this was repeat for you guys.
I had a quick question about when you're talking to recruiters or just other employees at career fairs. Sometimes when you ask people questions, you get either a one-word response or a really short response, and it's pretty difficult to keep the conversation going. Do you have any tips on how to handle a situation like that, or just knowing when to decide that, maybe this is the end of this conversation and move on?
Yeah, it's a bummer if they're being really short with you. I find myself talking too much, as you can probably guess from the presentation that I gave you. But I think if you're getting short answers, I wouldn't really change what you're doing. Like if you're really interested in the company and they're just giving you short answers, I would still just ask all the questions you want to get out of them. Maybe you do take that short answer and say, actually, could you expand upon that a little more? Or you could even take it in a different direction. But if you are able to incorporate their response into your next question, I think that's always a good way to do it. And if all else fails, like just talk about what you want to get out about yourself. So if they're giving you a really short answer about what they do every day, turn it around and say, well, this is what I'm looking for. I think I'm really good at this, this, and this. And from what I've seen on your website, I think that would really relate to what you guys do and from what your position is. I'm wondering if the problem is too that they're an HR person and their goal is to just get as many resumes as they want and not have as many conversations. And if that's the case, hopefully your resume looks good. Do all the follow-up tips that Mary talked about. Reach out on LinkedIn, send a follow-up email with a thank you. Feel free to send some of the work you've done. If they're not being conversational, just think of some other ways to get your name out there. Mary, can you think of anything else?
No, I think that's good. I agree with continue to ask the questions if you're interested in that company, because maybe you call an HR person like Lauren was saying, and they're just, they have a different motive, just trying to get as many as possible. Maybe you call someone on a bad day. I definitely wouldn't give up on the company or like what you're asking. Just, market yourself and get it out there.
As much as the career fair is for employers to see if you're a good fit, you want to know if that company's a good fit. So if you're getting short answers and they're not the answers you want, ask as many questions as it takes for you to knock them off your list.
True.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
I had a quick question for Mary, actually. So you mentioned that you didn't come from a civil background, but now you're working in the civil field. So I was wondering if you had to get your PE or do any sort of licensing moving into a project manager role that you are in now?
No. So I actually did not. Basically, it was just transitioned in. ARCO does a really good job of like hiring engineers, even if you're not in the civil engineering field, and just training them. And they kind of have the mentality of, like Lauren said, they want to hire mainly engineers. And so that these people will be fast learners and catch on to it quickly. So basically I just started here, and ARCO, like the great thing about ARCO is there's so many different offices. And so we have the support of a large corporation with, great training, great resources, et cetera, but our office is smaller. So we have the more like transparent, smaller office feel. It's the best of both worlds. And so luckily we had like a new hire binder with, a bunch of different training materials. So you're not just kind of sitting there watching a million videos over and over, plus like good leaders to review things with you and have like one-on-one meetings once a week, and just like walk you through the whole process. So no, I didn't have to do any licensing. It was just kind of like onboarding once I got there, but it was pretty smooth, I would say. Do you have a civil background?
Yeah, I'm currently a civil engineering major. So I was just curious how that transition.
Yeah,
I think I would say probably a majority of the engineers that we hire tend to come from civil structural backgrounds, but we've got mechanical, chemical, electrical. Mary, I forget the name of yours again. Engineering, management, technology.
Preston was biomedical.
Oh yeah,
he thought he wanted to be a doctor. No, because he did pre-med and engineering. But yeah, that's I think what's cool about ARCO too is like it does bring people with different backgrounds and kind of brings people with different perspectives too.
Awesome. Well, for the time being, we're gonna wrap up the Q&A session, but those are really great questions, and thank you all so much for presenting. If you don't mind just hanging on till the end once we finish our announcements, if anyone has any more questions, y'all can get those asked as well. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to...
thank you for having us.
Of course. Yeah, I'm going to head on back and we're going to wrap up our end of our meeting for you all by talking about some of our upcoming events.
So this Wednesday, we are having a lunch and learn with Shell at 12 p.m. And we're going to be talking about the transition from college to career and how to really best handle all of these new changes in your environment. So definitely come out, and these recruiters are super nice. Not recruiters, supporters.
All right, we're heading into our second week of coffee chats with the officers. So just come on by. There's about 2 different hours, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. The different pairs of officers from different branches will be hosting an office hour. You can come hang out, just ask any questions you have about registration, which is our theme for this week, getting all the class registration in. I know that I have a lab Friday 8 to 11 that I'm so looking forward to. So just we can hash that stuff out at the coffee chats or just take a mental break from school. We're going to have a few changes coming to our structure next week, but for this week, it's going to be the same as last week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you can find the schedule and all the details at the link on the slide.
So this Sunday, we are going to have a mat Pilates class with RECSPORTS. And it'll be with a certified instructor from RECSPORTS. You don't need to have any special equipment, really just a mat, towel, and water bottle. And all fitness levels are welcome. Just join the live Zoom call. And this is the meeting ID to the Zoom.
Hello, everyone. So SWE's hosting Living Room's Got Talent. So it's basically going to be an online talent show where people can just send in any sort of talent video that they have. So literally, if you guys want to make like origami, tell some jokes, literally anything, music, dancing, please come out and sign up. It's very chill, and we just want to have a good time with everyone. And I know all of y'all are super talented, so make sure to do that. And yeah.
All right, and then also coming up next Friday, we are having a joint social with Pi Sigma Pi, Black Women in Science and Engineering, National Society of Black Engineers, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, which is SHIP, and SHIP Senoritas. So we're gonna have lots of people. We're gonna be playing different games in different breakout rooms and also having some breakout rooms just to talk about movies, celebrities, recipes, random questions, questioning our existence, all the good stuff. So come on out and join us. It's next Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. And we're going to be sending out the Zoom link when we get a little closer to the event on Slack.
Also, for the Monday following that social, we are going to be having an origami night with ASME. So if you're super stressed about that test you didn't make a good grade on, no need. You can fold that up into a pumpkin, and now you have free room decor for the fall. So, and you can make some new friends in ASME, so it's a double whammy. So come on out, and more details will be released soon on the Zoom link and all of that. It's going to be 5 to 6 p.m., so I hope to see you guys there.
Okay, hello. So Advancement wants to do a panel where we've invited some past alumni from SWE to talk about some non-traditional engineering career paths, but we want to make sure that there's interest in this so everyone's time is respected. So if you would be interested in attending this panel, it would be on Thursday, November 12th from 6 to 7. So if you scan that QR code or go to that link, there's a Google form that you can fill out to just indicate your interest. And the setup will be that we'll make small breakout rooms that rotate through, so you have a chance to speak with everyone in a more personal way. And there's some really cool people coming, so it would be great if you could fill the form out. Thank you. So I say this at every meeting, so I'll keep it short, but if you want to be a SWE national member, you can do so by going to SWE.org, their national site. There's a part of their menu, there's like a how to become a member, or a membership section. So if you are interested in having a national SWE membership for 5 years, it's $50 paid up front, and 1 year is $20, and you have to renew that annually. If you're in SHIP, NSBE, ISIS, or NOGLSTP, there are joint memberships for all of those orgs as well. And being a national SWE member lets you apply to attend SWE conference with UT SWE, where we cover your travel and lodging. You can apply for officer positions, get access to national SWE content. So email me at this email at the bottom if you have more questions.
Hey guys, as always, the test and interview bank is open to everyone in SWE. Please send 3 exams if you have not already with your year, major, the year you took it, the professor, the semester, and which test number it was. And if you're a freshman, you get a free trial, so all you have to do is send in your EID. And if you guys have any questions at all, please just email UT SWE Advancement. Thank you.
Also, just gonna add to that, one of our prizes that we have for the point system, if you get in between 9 and 12 points, you can potentially get a free entry into the test bank without sending any tests in. So lots of bonuses there. Anyway, keep moving.
And just a reminder, we still have our first year guide. If you haven't checked it out already, it has a bunch of tips, study advice, things to do in Austin. And we're still doing our tip of the week, which we pulled straight from the guide. And this week, it's just a reminder to separate your academic space from your personal space if you can. Maybe try studying in a new area than you have before, just to switch things up. So yeah, that QR code will take you straight to the guide. And just a reminder, I say this at every meeting, but proactive community testing is still an option. If you want to go get tested for COVID, it's a really easy process, and that QR code will give you more information, and you can make an appointment from there as well.
Okay, and then coming up, just showing you all a little bit about the events that we talked about that will be in the next 2 weeks before our next general meeting, which will be on November 10th. And so yeah, like we mentioned, we have a lunch and learn coming up tomorrow, and then this Sunday is the Pilates event, and then next Friday we have our SWE and EOE collab social. So we'd love to see y'all there. Please stay tuned in our Slack for that, as well as the newsletter for more information about those. And yeah, Publicly, anything y'all want to say?
Just don't forget to follow us on social media. We'll be posting a lot of our fun blog posts on there. And also, if you ever miss a meeting, it'll be on our YouTube channel. And then you can also sign up for a newsletter if you want to stay up to date as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thank y'all so much. Here's our event feedback for y'all. You can fill this out for any event that you've been to, not just this one. And yeah, let us know how it went and what more things you would like to see from us. So yeah, we will also send this out later in case you didn't get the chance, but we finished a little bit early, which I'm glad. If y'all want to hang around and if you want to ask Mary and Lauren any more questions, we can hang around here until 8 to be respectful of everyone's time. Yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Stop sharing. And y'all are free to go or hang around and ask more questions. Okay, Caitlin, I think we can pause the recording.